Friends, today we're starting a series called Me. I realize that you probably don't know that much about me, and I wanted to introduce myself. So, first things first, if you are watching from YouTube, go ahead and click subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of any future videos that might be posted. Okay? So this is our daily live, Monday through Friday. I am aiming to go live Monday through Friday, usually around 9 a.m. Can't guarantee that, not at this point, at least. But my guarantee is that I will show up every day at some point. Sometimes it might be in the evening. Okay, so moving right along, I'm Rachel Smith. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm actually native to California, was born and raised there. So shout out to all my California friends. Hey! I started in the Bay Area, actually, San Francisco. And San Francisco area. I never lived in San Francisco, but my grandmother did. And then from there, I moved down to the Central Coast, which is San Luis Obispo County area. That's where I lived for my teenage years, and then I moved out to Kansas City. So here I am in Kansas City still. There was a couple of other places I have been besides that, but that's just the lowdown of the framework of my landing in Kansas City. So probably, even though I've been a part of the International House of Prayer here in Kansas City since 2006, can you believe that? I know. It is a 24/7 full-time live worship and prayer ministry that I've been a part of since 2006. And the reason I became a part of that is because that was already something that I did on my own in my life. We talk a lot about Jesus and a lot about relationship with Jesus and things that just come up in my heart as I'm led to talk about it. I'm just going to talk about those things that come up, and that's what we'll do here because I really just believe that God can give us insight into the needs and the troubles that need to be addressed or need to have solutions spoken into them, words of encouragement. My whole purpose and plan here is to be encouraging into relationship with Jesus, with going deeper and not just settling for whatever you've been believing or been given in the past. It's time to ramp it up. So that's what I'm intending to do in this space, in our home here online with all of you. I am so grateful for all of you. I think, you are loved, you are accepted, you are part of the family of God if you are a believer, and God has so much more for us. But all that to say, back to me, introductions. Okay, how did I get saved? I've actually been walking with the Lord since I was about 5. I'm 44 now. How I got introduced to the Lord is quite crazy because at the time, my parents were split up, and my grandfather on my dad's side, my dad's father, was a traveling evangelist, and he basically took us kids to church. And all of us kids, I have 3 other siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. All of us kids started going to church with my grandfather, and we gave our lives to Jesus at church. And my parents were not walking with God at the time. So we have a unique kind of backwards story, I feel like. But you know what? Kids are... I was definitely needing to encounter Jesus in my life. My life was upside down even at 5. My parents had, I think I think I was probably younger than 5. My older sister was probably 5, so I was probably about 4. Anyways, there was a time in that young time of my life where my parents split up for 3 years, and they were pretty much set on getting divorced. Now, that's their story, so I don't really know all the details of that. All I know is that as a young kid, I got to do stuff between the 2 houses and all of that, and that stuff did affect how I interacted with the Lord. And when I met Jesus, and this is my testimony, is that all I knew was that sitting before him was the most important place and the most beneficial place. And I felt loved by him. I cannot explain that because I was a young child. I can't explain that. I just know it, and I just felt it. So from there, I was going to church every Sunday, and so it was a Sunday thing. And I don't remember a ton of details from my childhood, but I do remember that us kids loved going to church. And so we would constantly be asking our parents to go with us. And at some point, my dad finally said yes to my older sister's request for him to go, and he got saved. So all that to say is that during that time, we spent a midweek at a children's church service and going on Sundays. It was not perfect, but as growing up in a broken environment, that was so refreshing to me to be in church and to be loved on by Jesus. And, I just remember mostly the stories that we were taught were the parables and the stories, not cover to cover necessarily, but, Daniel in the lion's den, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And those stories really instilled a lot of faith in me to press in and to believe for things that didn't seem possible. I mean, if you know the story of Daniel in the lion's den, okay, as a child, hearing those stories is super important because we are childlike faith is it's just, in that place, you are able to actually believe in the impossible, basically. So I believe that my faith level was established when I was a child because hearing the stories about a boy or a man, going into a lion's den and the angels of the Lord shutting the mouths of the lions, and he should have been ripped to pieces, but he came out without any trouble at all. And anyways, I have more thoughts on that come to me. I just like to go down bunny trails. I have lots of connections that happen in my mind when I'm talking or when I'm thinking about stories and things like that. And my connection right now is connecting the fact that in that time, he refused to do what the governmental order was to do because it went against God. And he was being told to worship an idol, and he refused to do that and instead continued to pray to God. And God, who is the living God, the creator of all things, protected him in the lion's den. And I believe that protection is really about the display of God being the true God. Okay, it's God showing the king the truth and the right way. So I'm looking forward to our future of signs and wonders and proclamations that only you could say, yes, God is real because he did it in my life. And that is my testimony. That anyways, that's my introduction. Okay, so I currently live in Kansas City. I'm currently still a part of the International House of Prayer, which is prayer and worship 24/7. I am also a part of 111 Global, which is another ministry that takes prayer and worship into the nations, to do this model of prayer, worship based out of the Bible, based on the word and based on relationship with Jesus. And I'm a mom of 3 girls, and I'm married to the love of my life. That's another story I can't wait to tell you. At some point, my husband and I will sit down and have chats about that. But I might do a little bit of the story before him and I do it together. I'm actually introverted, which means that I need to have time alone to recharge. It's very hard for me to go. I love people, and I push myself to the absolute limits because of that. I want to show up for people, but I have to acknowledge that I need time and space, and it has nothing to do with loving people well. It has to do with actually being able to show up in your full strength when you do show up. And so that's another subject, right? What else can I tell you about myself? I've had gray hair since I was 19. It wasn't as much. So this is all natural. I decided to go completely gray and let my hair grow out as it is. So I have a lot of dark hair still in there. I decided to do that a few years back because it was just getting painful to dye my hair black and, dark and then have a line of regrowth. It was hard to keep up with, especially with twins and another. So I'm a twin mom as well. Yeah, so that's about it. I mean, I'm showing up more in my socials because I believe God has a purpose and a point for online community and online impact. And so I want to be here with you. I want to be here with you guys if you want to be here with me. I'm so appreciative of that. And I want to create resources and stuff like that. My heart is that if you knew that God loved you, you would have a different path in your life. You would be empowered. You would see your value and your worth, and you would make different choices. That's just how it is. When you know that you're loved, I want to weep over this because this is the main thing, isn't it? And in order to know that you're loved, you have to know the one who's loving you. So this is what we're here to do. And I hope that you're feeling that from me. Okay, guys. Well, if you are enjoying this content and you want more of the same, and you want to be encouraged in a community that is going after this and that is wanting to go deeper in relationship with Jesus, even if you've just started out, we would love to have you in Lost in Opinions to Grounded in Truth. That is my group on Facebook. It's free, and I'm building resources in there for prayer and worship and intimacy with Jesus, and talking about fasting and talking about relationships and all of that kind of stuff. There's already a couple things in there about boundaries and about forgiveness. Some episodes that were done with some friends of mine who've graciously given their time to speak to my group. Okay, so there lives a 10 minutes in the Word daily. It's really beefy, so it's like more than 90 days of daily in the Word reading out loud. So if those are things that you want to start diving into, then join me in my group. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.